We're good? Okay. All right. Welcome to all of you today. My name is Mike Nazareth. I direct graduate recruiting here for new masters and PhD students for University of Florida. You've probably heard from me a great deal in email messaging or application fee waivers or previous webinars that you've attended. So welcome. We're very excited and delighted that you're here today. All of you have been admitted for the fall 2025 term. There's a few of you that have been admitted for the summer term, and a few students do start in the summer or switch that over and start in the fall term. We have lots of master's students that have been admitted that are online today. These are both master's students, some that are already at University of Florida in their undergrad, others from across the state of Florida or across the United States, and then many international students that are with us today that have been admitted. We also have PhD students that have been admitted online. Many of those are international that were unable to come and travel for our spring visit program for those that already reside in the US. So welcome to all of you. We're delighted that you're here with us. I know that some of you have already made your decision and you are planning to enroll at University of Florida. So congratulations and welcome to Gator Nation. And others of you are still deciding. You've been admitted to a few schools and you're still making a careful decision in these final weeks before April 15th on which school you feel will be the best for you. So we'll try to provide a great program for you today and give you all of that last minute information and updates and answer any questions that you have. So all of the slides that we're going to present today have already been posted on the website this morning. That's the same website that you went to register to attend this webinar. They're already there now, so do not feel like you need to write all of these areas down. We are also recording this webinar, and the recording will be up within a day or two. And we also have the slides and recording of the admitted webinar that we ran last week, and that's up now as well because we have different panelists each time. So we have a great group from University of Florida, a lot of very knowledgeable graduate staff and current graduate students to talk with you. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off with some introductions so that you can see everybody that we have here today. So first off is Associate Dean Toshi Nishida of Academic Affairs for all areas for new graduate students. He's also a professor in electrical and computer engineering. He is not able to attend today. He actually has some other events taking place at this same time. He did attend some of the previous webinar last week, which is in the recording on the website. So again, my name is Mike Nazareth, and many of you have heard quite a bit from me. And I'll continue to be working with all students through enrollment and even through the summer months till classes start next fall. We happen to have a little bit of an outbreak of some sickness going on right now, a little bit throughout some of our staffing. So Krista Smith is with us today. I think she has live video going on. But her voice is off, so you will not hear from Krista today, but she is in the background to answer many of the questions that you have. And we'll continue with the introductions through here. Is Gabrielle here?
Hi, I'm Gabrielle. I'm the graduate academic advisor for the chemical engineering department. I was also a UF grad, so go Gators. So I've been here for a while as a student and then now as an advisor. But yeah, if you have any questions with our master's program or PhD program, I can pretty much know all the answers. If not, I can figure out the answer for you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Christina Sapp, and I do the graduate admissions for the CISE department. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me.
Julissa Nunez is one of our staff who's out with sickness today, so she will not be able to join us at all, but we do have a couple ECE department master students and they're very knowledgeable. They'll be introducing themselves shortly. And another one of our staff. So Pam is with us today. Pam Simon, she is on video, but her voice is out, so she is not on the audio, but she will be answering questions, most especially for the many of you that have been admitted to the Masters of Applied Data Science or the Masters of Artificial Intelligence Systems.
I guess I'll go ahead and go. Hello, good morning, everyone. My name is Jordan Sharpshire, and I am the Graduate Academic Advisor for the Department of Industrial and Systems Engineering, ISE. And so if you have any questions regarding our master's program, either our on-campus or EDGE, or our PhD program, I would be happy to answer them in the chat.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jeremy Hall. I'm with the Mechanical and Aerospace Engineering Department, the graduate program manager, which basically means I'm the lead of the Graduate Student Services Office. We have 3 people. I serve as academic advisor, recruitment admission specialist, all kinds of stuff. Basically, I wear a lot of hats. My hat closet is quite full. Happy to see everyone here, and thank you for coming to this webinar.
Hi, my name is Allison Bailey, and I am the graduate advisor for material science engineering and nuclear engineering. And so if you have questions about both of any of those programs with master's or PhD, I'd be happy to help you. And go Gators.
Good day, my name is Martine Angren, Director, F1 International Student Services. We work with all of the students who are on the F1 visa, and we have about a team of 8 core advisors for around 6,000, around 6,200 students, okay?
Okay, so we have a really expertise team of staff. Now we have some of our current students, graduate students, to introduce themselves.
Hey guys, I'm Tomas. I'm a second year biomedical engineering student in the master's program here at UF, so graduating very soon. I also did my undergrad here, so I'm a double gator.
Hello everybody, my name is Camila. I'm a graduate student here at UF. Currently, I'm pursuing my master in chemical engineering. I'm in first year. I'm from Colombia and I came to UF with a background in chemistry. I graduated from National University of Colombia. So if anybody from Colombia is here, and anybody around the world, just feel free to ask any questions about research or academics or adjusting to grad school.
Hello everyone, I am Sri Sadhan. I am doing my master's in computer science department, and feel free to reach out to me if you have any doubts regarding graduate courses, CS courses, and also if you talk about like the bus communities or the our accommodation in Gainesville.
Oops. Hey everyone, my name is Kevin. I'm from Los Angeles, California. I'm a first year PhD student in computer science, and I did my undergrad and master's at Brown University in Providence. Similarly, feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions about the process, the admissions process, or the PhD process. Would love to share my experience. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Sudhir Polladdu. I'm a master student in the electrical and computer engineering from India. I graduated from the JNTU Hyderabad. If you have any doubts related to the EC or anything related to the accommodation, please feel free to talk to me.
Hello everyone, I'm Bharat Kumar Gajula. I'm also into Masters in Electrical and Computer Engineering, currently pursuing my last semester here. And I'm also Public Relations Director for Indian Graduate Student Association. So if you have any questions, you can feel free to reach out to me.
Hey everyone, my name is Bryce Graham. I'm in the 4th year of a concurrent degree program where I finished a master's in urban and regional planning and close to wrapping up a PhD in transportation engineering. Did my undergrad in Montana and came to UF for grad school. So happy to answer any questions you guys have.
Morning, my name is Channing Ludden. I'm a second year PhD student in the Mechanical and Aerospace Engineering Department. Let me know if you have any questions.
Okay, thank you all. So we promised you an expert staff across our graduate staff and our current graduate students, and then that's exactly what you're going to get today. You've just been introduced to 20 individuals. So what we would like to do now is we have a series of slides on a great deal of topics that we're going to present to you, and we'll have different individuals talking about each of the slides, but we want to make the best use of everybody's time. So you can start asking any questions, all questions that you want right now, and please put those in the Q&A. But it might be best if you directed your question to a specific department or a specific individual, so you don't have all 20 trying to answer every question. So if you're mechanical engineering, you might start the question with Jeremy or mechanical. If you're computer science, start with CS or computer science. If it's an international question, then about I-20 visa, etc. And you can feel free to start asking those questions now. We have more than 150 admitted students online today. And I know last week we answered more than 400 or 500 questions. So we'll take the next hour and 15 minutes or so you can do that. Again, the slides and the recordings, the slides are already on the website and recording, and that will be on the website as well. So do not feel like you have to write all of this down. So to start off with, I will present just some background information if you're not familiar with University of Florida, because I know most of you have probably not been here before. You have probably not been to Gainesville, Florida. So the University of Florida is a very large campus. We are one of the largest public universities in the entire United States of America with over 60,000 students. It's a significant part of the town of Gainesville. You could very much say that we are a college town, that we're very much centered around university students, both at the undergraduate level for bachelor's, at the master's level, and the PhD level. We have a lot of buildings, 900, probably more than that now, and over 2,000 acres. So we're centered kind of on a 10 by 10 blocks and everything in between. But then there's other parts of town and other regions throughout the state as well. But the good thing about University of Florida is we don't just focus on undergraduates. So some of the large universities in the United States are very, very heavily undergraduate based, but we have a lot of graduate students, nearly 20,000. So about a third of our campus has a specific focus for the master's students and the PhD students. And we have a lot of majors, virtually all majors that exist, with 16 different schools and colleges. And we spend a lot of funds on research, and that is important because many of our graduate students are working on research. So we're emphasizing the areas that are very important to you. So Herbert Wertheim College of Engineering is a big part of our campus as well. So it's not just all the other colleges, but we have over 11,000 students. So of the 60,000 students here at University of Florida, more than 11,000 are engineering or computing students. So our Herbert Wertheim College of Engineering includes the computing areas of computer engineering, computer science, data science, etc. They're not separate colleges. We have virtually every department that exists for engineering and computing with our 11 departments, more than 300 faculty, and a good percentage of our students are graduates. So again, of the 11,000, we have almost 3,500 of those that are graduate students. So there's a large focus on that area. And we've been around a long time as well. We're not a new college and not a new university. Both have been more than 100 or 150 years. So we have long-standing of all the rich traditional universities that are spread throughout the United States. Okay, so if you want to see specifically for the graduate student population, this chart lists every area. So for every department, you can see this was fall 2024 enrollment. So when we were around 3,300 graduate students last middle of August 2024, you can see exactly how many students that were enrolled. Some of these were new students, some of these were continuing students moving on down the pike towards graduation. So we've been around this 3,000 to 3,500 graduate students for going on in the 11 years that I've been here at University of Florida. We do very well in the rankings, and there's all sorts of rankings that are out there. So when we put this slide together, I wanted to show the breadth and the depth of our rankings. So you can see we do very well in these. These are all very recent rankings, 2022, 23, 24, 25, top 5, top 10, #1 rankings for anywhere from top public university to Money Magazine for the best value, most economic for the dollars that you spend, choices on your return for good emphasis and assistance with careers and getting jobs and getting internships, etc. So we really span all of these areas, and each of these rankings changes 1 or 2 or goes up and down a little bit each year, but we maintain being in among the top every year in many, many rankings. So we feel like we're giving you a really good product for your time, for your commitment, and for the money that you spend. We also have rankings for individual departments, and you'll see most all of our engineering and computing departments rank in the top 20 or in the top 10, and these go up and down as well a little bit each year, but we have quality product as a college and individually in the specific areas that you're very interested in spending most of your time and taking courses. We have, excuse me, we have lots of buildings. So when we have this 900, 950 plus buildings throughout University of Florida, we have a lot of buildings for engineering. So this is actually a little outdated. I think it's closer to 64, 65 engineering or computing buildings now. So you could easily be taking classes or working in labs or having office spaces in a couple of buildings. You would have that opportunity, and among your degrees, you can take some classes in other areas. So it doesn't have to, you'll be majority in your expertise area that you want, but you do have the flexibility to take some others. So you could be in multiple buildings throughout the University of Florida campus. There's not just one area that has all of the engineering buildings. It's spread throughout our campus locations. Our newer ones in the last 4 years that you may have heard of are the Herbert Wertheim Laboratory for Engineering Excellence. This is kind of when we started to do the new model, the new engineering building, meaning that it does not just have one major, the old school model, whereas if you're chemical engineering, you're only in this one building, or computer science, you only go to this one area. This building has courses for multiple departments of engineering. It has spaces for undergraduates and for graduates. It has classrooms. It has lab spaces. It has offices for graduate students and for faculty and other areas. So this is kind of the newer type of building that takes place here on our campus. And the latest building, which has really been open for about 1 full year, so a year and maybe part of another semester in late 2023, is Malachowski Hall for Data Sciences and Information Technology. And this is probably the most modern IT building on any university campus in the entire United States because it's so new. It was a significant investment, more than 150 or 160 million dollars. We've moved the home of our ECE department, Electrical and Computer Engineering, and CISE, Computer and Information Sciences and Engineering, over into this building. But there's also other floors in this building. College of Pharmacy has an area. Our College of Medicine, we have a very large medical complex here at University of Florida, as well as some other areas. So it's a great facility, and I know we're only beginning to get the tip of the iceberg of utilizing everything that this building can offer. We were able to build this from, part of it was from a large donation from the CEO of NVIDIA. I'm sure for all of you computing majors and even beyond, you've heard of that company because that individual graduated from University of Florida. for one of their degrees. So they gave a significant donation. And so we have what's called the HyperGator here at University of Florida, which is a supercomputer. And we had, I think at that time, maybe the 25th or 26th fastest supercomputer in the world and among the fastest in the United States. But this large donation allowed us to upgrade the cores and have the top rated supercomputer for higher education across the US. So for all majors, this is very important. For high stakes computing can be utilized with any department, any graduate student, and any level of research that they're working on. And we now want to be known as AI University, and we're doing lots more with AI, not just in engineering and computing, but we have this initiative and have for the last 2 to 3 years to expand AI to every major and every college across our campus. So you'll see this more and more. You'll absolutely see this if you come here in the fall as a graduate student, and many of you will be using some of this in your courses or in your research. And our graduate students do have access to use the HyperGator among their classes and their research. It's not just for our administrators or for our faculty. So we have that here for you. So that's some high-end overview about UF. We'd like to move to a new topic now because I know a lot of you online today are international students and you have another layer of requirements with student visas. So we have our campus expert here today, and I'm going to turn the time over to Martine to discuss all these important areas with you.
Thank you so much, Michael. Thank you for having me as a part of this group webinar to share information about our F1 International Student Services. As mentioned, I am Martine Angran, Director of our services here, and we have a team of 8 advisors. And I actually checked our numbers the other day. We have 4,470 students currently enrolled, and then we have a bit over 1,700 students on OPT and STEM OPT. So we're right around 6,200 students on the F1 visa. Next slide. So we have a lot of information for you that we won't necessarily go through all of them right now, but we will go over the preliminary information regarding your I-20 and then maintaining your status. But if you scan the QR code, you'll be able to go to our website and see all the information related to all of this. And within the I-20 application itself, you will see the information necessary specifically for the I-20. Next slide. So for the I-20, you are required to show proof of funds if you are a grad student in the amount of $57,555. That includes tuition, living expenses, fees. Of course, the living expenses are estimated based on Gainesville living costs and a few in numbers related to your books and whatnot. So all the numbers are on our website for details. And if you have an achievement award, you will only need to show $53,055. If you have an achievement award, when your department submits the I-20 request, they will let us know. You don't have to upload anything in your application related to the achievement award. You're welcome to, but if we tell you that if you're starting this year and we tell you that you have to show 53,055, then that is how you know that we know you already have the achievement award. For the I-20 process itself, we will send you an email to the same address that you used to apply to UF. So make sure you're checking the inbox, spam, junk mail, just in case it got to the wrong area, and look for the application for the instructions for the I-20. It will give you preliminary information to log into the ISSS portal, and you will need to already have established your Gator link so that you can log into that portal. Once you log in, everything you need to know about the I-20 application is within, and you'll be able to read through all of that and submit your questionnaires, submit your reading materials, and submit your documents. You'll notice that each questionnaire, each reading material has a save or submit option. If you click on save, you will be able to go back in to edit anything in case you're still trying to make some changes. If you click on submit for that questionnaire or reading material, you will not be able to modify that. I would suggest that you click on save throughout the application. And then once you're actually done, scroll to the very top of the application and click submit. You want to make sure that you click the big blue and white submit application button at the very top Otherwise, your application will not be in queue. We don't see your application, even if you submit individual sections, until you actually click the big button at the top. I'm repeating this because a lot of students who contact us and say, I haven't heard about my I-20 and we already sent you instructions, we realize that you clicked on submit on individual little questionnaires, but you did not click on submit for the entire application. So that's very important. Once you actually do submit your application, it will be in queue. We are helping around 2,000 students who have been informed that they're admitted, and we're going to process those in the order received. So if you make sure that you follow the instructions and upload everything and fill out everything, you will have a great application in queue, and we will be able to review and process that. Very early on, we typically can get that done within about 2 weeks. But once we get further into the summer, April, May, June, it can take us around 4 weeks because that's when most of our students tend to submit their application. So we want you to submit earlier than later if you have everything done. Once we provide you that I-20, then you'll get an email with the instructions on how to download the I-20 from the ISSS portal. We don't mail it to you. You'll just log back in and download it, sign it, and then have what you need for your visa application. Next slide. Once you have the I-20, you'll be able to pay the CVIS fee, then complete the consulate's DS-160 form for your actual visa application and schedule the appointment at the consulate office nearest to you. Among all the documents that you'll need, it will include your actual printed documents, your I-20, your admission letter. Even if those were emailed to you, you have to print them and take that with you. Your proof of funds, your passport. If you have an achievement award, take the letter that you received by your department, whether that was sent to you by email or otherwise. And of course, your passport, because that is what they'll need to stamp that into for the visa. Once you obtain your visa, then you would be able to schedule your flight and enter the US. You are allowed to enter the US up to 30 days prior to the program start date on your I-20. The program start date for fall is August 21, so you'll be able to enter as early as July 22nd or later, and prior to the start of classes if your visa is approved. Then once you're in the US, you'll go through the mandatory UFIC online check-in, and of course, register full-time for classes. We'll talk about what full-time registration is. For arriving in Gainesville, make sure that you carry your I-20 in hand along with your admission letter, F1 visa and passport, proof of funds on your person. Do not pack them. We do also recommend that you make a copy and keep those digitally just in case. Scan all of that for you to have in case they get lost, and even carry a second document just in case. Again, you can enter up to 30 days prior to the start date on the I-20. And then keep in mind that a lot of apartments right now are, they have students in them who are about to graduate, so they may not be available if you're starting in August until around August 15th or so. So look at look at online. We have an online resource for you with apartment seeking. We can't secure an apartment for you, but we certainly can point you in the directions of who can help you with reviewing apartment information. Next slide. So our check-in process is online. It's been online for about 5 years now, so you don't have to come in person to the office to do your check-in. You do all of that online once you're in the US. You have to complete your check-in prior to the drop-out deadline and preferably prior to even the start of classes. If you don't do your check-in, we can't confirm that you've arrived and provided us the proper documents for us to verify that you're in F1 status, and that will be a violation of status. So we want you to be able to maintain your status by taking 30 minutes out of your time to just do our online check-in. There are a lot of deadlines at the beginning of each semester, including registration, which you're probably in communications with your department about. And then first day of classes, before that day, you must be registered full-time. And then during drop add, you can modify your registration. So if you realize you have a 7:30 a.m. class, but maybe the 9:30 a.m. is a better option for you, you can modify and change those around, of course, in communication with your department and whether or not there's still space in that class. The drop add deadline is generally about 5 days after classes start. Make sure that you are registered full-time and in compliance by then, or else then it's an issue with the F1 status. Go ahead and scan the QR code for all deadline information that UF provides. Now, the fee payment deadline is generally within the first 2 weeks of classes. We know sometimes you're waiting on your loans to come through, or maybe your parents to, send you the amount that's due. You have to pay something by the fee payment deadline or your classes will be canceled, and that will be a status issue. So if whatever the bill is, if you have 100 available, go in and pay that 100. And once that's paid, they cannot cancel your classes. You'll be able to continue with your enrollment until you have the full amount from your parents or your sponsor to pay the remainder of the fees. And of course, if you don't pay everything prior to the deadline, then you'll have late fees. So it's always helpful to be prepared by that deadline. Next slide. Now, maintaining full-time registration. As a graduate student, that is a minimum 9 credits every fall, every spring. Out of those 9, 6 must be in person. The other 3 can be in any format. So it could be hybrid, online, partially online, or fully online for the other 3 credits. But 6 out of those 9 every fall, every spring must be in person. That means reporting to a classroom. In the summer, it is a vacation semester. So if you're starting this fall and summer 2026, you want to take vacation or register less than full-time or register however you'd like, that's fine. But every fall, every spring is required. And then if your graduating semester is the summer, then there are some requirements and stipulations there. As an F1 student, you may be interested in working on campus. There is opportunity to work on campus up to 20 hours per week. Through jobs that are called OPS or otherwise part-time student employment. You're not able to do any of the FWS jobs, and you cannot do anything over 20 hours per week. That is the regulation limiting you to 20. Okay? You will not be able to work off campus at all in the first academic year. If you do find an opportunity for off-campus employment, training, internship, externship, co-op, whatever the employer may call it, you will be required to have authorization in order to participate in that work or training. For the time that you're in your program, that work authorization is called Curricular Practical Training, CPT. And then once you graduate, that work authorization is called Optional Practical Training, OPT. The QR codes, again, will provide you a lot more information. We know our students are always interested. The work that you do on campus can help supplement maybe having your groceries or whatnot. It will not allow you to pay for tuition per se, but it can help supplement you with some funds while you're here. Next slide. All right, so I mentioned earlier that we have a team of F1 advisors to help you. We have a contact form. That is the way to reach us. It's one-stop area that you send your email. If your advisor's in-house, she'll reply, he'll reply. If she's on leave or he's on leave, we have a backup advisor who will review. Just provide us some time because we are here helping a lot of students and want to help everyone in a fair manner. So I want to emphasize for your I-20, we will send the instructions to the same email address that you use to apply to UF. So make sure you're checking that inbox, spam, junk mail. All instructions are in the ISSS portal. If you follow them, you will have a very good application to submit to us. And then we will, once you click on the big blue and white submit application button at the top, we'll have your application in queue to review and process. We hope you choose UF and go Gators.
Okay, thank you very much, Martine. So I know there's been a lot of questions in the chat as well about for international students and all these extra areas. So continue to ask your questions and Martine will answer as many as she can in the chat, and everybody else, any questions as well. I see more than 65 have been answered already, and there's many more in the queue. So we have one poll question today, so I will ask Dallas to put that question up now. The only question we're going to ask, and it's very simple, is if you plan on enrolling to UF in the fall. So either yes or no, or you are still deciding. Okay, so we're gonna move on to another topic now, and we'll take a little bit of time to focus specifically on those of you admitted to the master's degree, and we're gonna call on a bunch of our panelists to give you some advice. So after I go over this slide, I'm going to call on Sudhir in ECE as a current master's student, and then I'm going to call on Maria from Columbia, who's a master's student in chemical engineering. So for our master's programs, most of you have been admitted to the on-campus program. The on-campus program is typically 4 semesters, 2 years. and that is typically, it starts in the second or third week of August for the fall term, and that goes through early December, 16 weeks. And then the spring term starts early January and goes through the end of April for 16 weeks. And there's a week break in there, what we call our spring break. So most master's students go fall and then spring, and they take the summers off for internships or co-ops or just time off. And then they go the following fall, spring. Now, some do start in the spring term, and some of you may find that ultimately you want to come in the fall and you're not able to, so you may officially defer to start next spring, and that's okay as well. So it's typically 4 semesters. Now, for those that are already at University of Florida or come in with some graduate credit, there are some that are able to get a semester less in that regard. We do have EDGE for about half of our engineering departments. Half, we do not have it. EDGE is our online studies. It's the same amount of time. You simply would not move to Gainesville, Florida. You would do this online from your current location, and the tuition is significantly less. But the classes are filmed live, so you can watch them live, or they're posted to the website and you could watch them later that day if you're working. And then they have systems in place to proctor the exams to you during those times. And then the final way for masters is those that want to continue to a PhD, and they know they want to continue to PhD. So they're taking courses as well as kind of on the PhD track during their master's degree. And then after they finish, they kind of move along. So those are some of the options that exist that you've applied to be admitted for. So let's start with Sudhir. You are currently here now in electrical and computer engineering and masters. So the question is quite simple. What is it like? How do you like it? And what is it like being in the master's program here at UF?
Actually, many students have the doubts related to these. So the courses in the EC are very good, especially related to the machine learning. Many people prefer the machine learning tracks. We have the electronics, electrophysics, computer engineering, and machine learning track. So the machine learning track in the EC is now growing, and they have the courses related to the applied machine learning, fundamentals of machine learning, pattern recognition, and also the safe autonomous systems like that. The research is very good, and especially if you are interested in converting to the PhD, we have the college has many resources and many funding options. So the best time to ask to the professors is now. So you can ask the professors based on your research interest, and you can reach out to them. And the UF is a very good college, I prefer. So, and one more thing, I choose the UF is the cost of tuition, because the cost of tuition is very less over here when compared to the other colleges like the UT Austin or the other colleges. So
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, Maria from Columbia, what is it like for you here in your master's program? How do you like UF?
Well, hi everybody. So I have liked it so far. It has been, of course, challenging, but incredibly rewarding. As a master's student, I have had the opportunity to work on research related to semiconductors, which was an opportunity that I didn't have in Colombia. Um, I have also been part of the Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers as a graduate research director. So I have felt a lot of personal growth and a lot of academic growth here that I didn't have the opportunity in Colombia. UF is very open. There's a lot of international students who are going through the same stuff that you will go through. So you will never feel alone in this process. And yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Okay, so for the specific admissions, all of you have already been admitted. We've admitted over 3,200 students across all departments for masters for the fall, or that's how many applications, over 3,200, and we've admitted almost 1,700. I was just looking at the numbers actually this morning, so 52%. It's usually around this 50% There will be more that will be processed, probably a couple hundred more that will be admitted. And we typically have enrollment into 700 to 800 new master students across all areas that come for each fall semester. All of you received this in your official admissions offer. So if you have not accepted online, you're still deciding, or even if you have accepted, you've emailed the department, you also need to make sure that you do this online for those simple instructions. Either accept, or if you're declining online, this is very important because it lets all of the many offices at University of Florida know your decision. So if they need to keep staying in touch with you. You also, it's very important to let your graduate staff know and email them, and they have forms for you to sign, etc. So you want to do that, and then also accept or decline online. So all of your deadlines are April 15th. There are some that extend a little bit beyond that for students that are admitted a little bit later. There could be an extension of a week or two, but mostly that will not impact most of you. So let's hear from a couple of our graduate staff now, and we'll start with mechanical engineering and aerospace engineering with Jeremy Hall. And you could talk about whatever's applicable for the new master students coming in, whether they're deciding still, or course registration coming up if they've already picked UF, or any other topics that you feel have been going on a great deal in the chat today. So we'll start with Jeremy.
Sure, and thank you for the time, Mr. Nazareth. Well, first of all, I would say that mechanical and aerospace were a very broad department. We do a lot of interdisciplinary study, interdisciplinary research. So if you're very interested in research, if you're very interested in very expanding, what you're learning about and integrating maybe concepts from outside of mechanical into mechanical or aerospace, we have a very flexible degree. For new master's and PhD students coming in, there is an orientation that we launched that is on July 1st. It comes as part of a greater portal where that is the sort of hub for your entire program, where everything you could ever need. I like to say, if you were on the moon and you had access to this hub, you could do your program. So that was our guiding principle in developing it. We also have a very active student body, a very active graduate student council. We have a lot of social events every semester, and we have active communication channels for different ways. So we have email, we have appointments, we have walk-ins, we have Discord, and we engage on all these platforms. If you are interested in finding out more, feel free to reach out to us via grad admissions or however else you can get in touch with us.
Okay, great. Thank you. We will go to computer science now, very popular for the master students. So Christina is here in audio.
Good morning. I actually was able to turn on video.
Oh, okay, great.
I went down the road so I can video. I live in the country, by the way, so that's why. So don't be concerned about internet in Gainesville. But anyways, yeah, so I do the CISE department. And for our graduate master's and PhD students, I'm getting a lot of questions about accepting the Achievement Award and being able to apply to our RATAs. Our RATA assistantships go to our PhD students only. Please, if you are offered an Achievement Award, please accept it. If by some off chance you were offered an RA or TA, here again is to our PhD students, then we would drop the Achievement Award and then you would accept that. So please accept the Achievement Award. If you want to apply to an RATA, you would, if you wanted to do for the PhD program, you would apply for fall of 2026. Once you apply, our faculty are able to look at your applications. We ask you very strongly, do not reach out to our faculty. That is unacceptable, and our faculty get overwhelmed and overloaded. And like I said, they look for students, so they're able to look, to look for you guys and see what you've applied to and whatnot, areas of interest and so forth. So that was a big question for that. And I'm also actually getting a lot of questions about internships. as Martine has already stated, if you're international, you cannot apply or be eligible for an internship for 2 semesters. So that would mean summer of 2026 is when you would be eligible. So starting around spring, reach out to me, send me your UFID. Every case will be different. So it's not a broad, just, statement. So reach out to me and then I would be able to individually get back with you. So that's pretty much what I've been getting, Mike. So thank you for letting me talk on this.
Okay, great. Thank you. So one of our students, when introducing earlier, talked about the economics of the cost of University of Florida, and we all agree with that completely. So these charts right here show the top 10 public universities in the United States, and this is according to the U.S. News and World Report rankings. And University of Florida has ranked between 4th and 7th on this scale. I think we're 7th right now, but we've been in the top 10 for many years. But we rank number 1 for economic value, and you can see we rank that by the cost of the tuition. So for the non-Florida residents, so if you're from another state in the US or if you're from another country, the master's or PhD tuition is about $30,000 a year, where some of these other institutions is nearly double that. So we find that we're a tremendous value for the tuition. The second area is the cost of Gainesville, and this is one ranking on this here. We find that that's cheaper than other bigger cities. There's a link there to the left, and that shows the exact estimated graduate cost per the UF financial office. So you can look at that. Some of those costs would be applicable to you, but some might not, as they overestimate a few areas. But let's hear from a couple of our students, maybe students that are not from here. Was it Kevin? Kevin in the computer science PhD. Did you say you were from LA? Did I get that right? You want to talk about what it's like cost-wise here in Gainesville?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'd say it's at least for me, it's pretty affordable. I understand things are kind of expensive in LA, so my viewpoint might be skewed, but I was in Providence 2 years prior to coming down.
Right.
And so yeah, I think things are pretty affordable in Gainesville. It's not yeah, it's not too bad. You could I know plenty of people um paying rent in like $500-600 with like one roommate, 1 to 2 roommates. So it's like it's all pretty affordable. I have no complaints on that end.
Okay, great. Thank you. So a couple talked about the funding, and I've seen some questions. So most of the master students pay their own way. That's how it goes here at University of Florida, and actually most institutions in the US. But we are able to provide the Academic Achievement Award, and that's $4,500. So if you're a non-Florida resident, you will get $1,500 off of your tuition for 3 straight semesters. So this is tremendous because most universities in the countries are not able to provide something like this, and we don't have a limit. We, as many students that come here from other states in the U.S. or other countries around the world, if you're admitted and you enroll here, you're guaranteed that. It's as simple as that. You do need to accept it, like Christina had said, so make sure you accept the offer, and then you'll be provided that. For the state of Florida residents, you are not eligible for that, but the tuition is much cheaper. It's around $12,000 for the in-state resident. If you're online studies edge, you are not eligible for that as well, because that tuition is half of what it is for the other students. So we can't combine those awards. So that's the main funding option that I see for students. There are a few new master students that are able to get some of these assistantships, but it is more rare. And typically, from what I see, they might get it in their second year. Extremely rare in their first semester. But after they've been here for a semester or two, and they've gone out and they've actively engaged with our faculty and sought a secure offer from a faculty member that has funding, and most likely you'd have to do some work in their lab as well on research. So let's shift over to PhD now, because I know some of the students online are admitted PhD, and then we'll call on some of our students, maybe Bryce in transportation engineering and Channing in mechanical engineering, and if Kevin has anything else to add. But first, just an overview of the programs. For the PhD program, it includes the master's if you're admitted straight from your bachelor's to University of Florida. If you're admitted straight from your master's, then it would be less, probably 3 to 4 years. Otherwise, it's usually 4.5 to 5 years for the PhD with the master's option. A few students have taken courses, graduate courses before they get here. Those can be looked at when you get here with the syllabus, etc., to see if any credit could be applied. If you're continuing from the master's, then again, it would be a little bit less at about the 3 to 4 years. So we'll start with Bryce. You're here in transportation engineering. What is it like to be in the PhD degree, and what is it like to be at University of Florida for you?
Yeah, great question. Thanks for the opportunity to be here. Whenever I'm talking to either newly admitted grad students or prospective grad students, specifically those considering a PhD, I try to tell them really consider who you're thinking about having as an advisor. And I think for me, that's probably been the most impactful portion of grad school, that depending on how that relationship goes, it can drastically, alter how your experience is as a grad student. This person is, essentially going to be your boss for, 4 to 5 years, depending on how long it takes you to finish the PhD, possibly longer. I know some folks that have taken, upwards of 7 years if the research isn't progressing and whatnot. So if you have a great relationship, it can be excellent. But if it's not good, then that's a long time to be committed to a work environment that could or could not be great. And so, building up that relationship, whether it's with your advisor or anyone that you're working with, I think is very important. Just establishing relationships in your research, because however smart you are at a certain point, there's going to be an answer that you can't get to on your own, and you need to collaborate. And that's how we come up with much more innovative research anyways, is through collaboration. So I think that there's plenty of opportunities for that at UF, lots of interdisciplinary research going on. So yeah, I think just building and establishing those relationships, I think, is probably the most important thing as you go through grad school.
Okay, good. That's great advice. Channing, in the MAE department, what's it like for you? What PhD and being here at UF?
We had a question. It was pretty good. I think we have a good community in MAE. There's a lot of familiar faces. We have a lot of common spots. Our buildings, we move into the new engineering building, and so you'll see a lot of people from your classes and research group walking around, and it's really nice to have those interactions with other students. And so you kind of have this feeling that there's a cohort of familiar faces, and then also senior PhDs and faculty that you can rely on for questions. So maintaining the mission that you're research focused, and that you spend a lot of time at the beginning building skill sets so that you can execute your research, has been kind of that balance. So balancing the building skill sets and then utilizing them for your research objectives in your lab, which are always personalized with your advisor. And so I agree with everything that Bryce was highlighting there. That relationship you have with your PI is really important. And I would say one thing that can make life go a little bit more smoothly is if you try to identify what that research direction is early as a PhD student. There's a lot of things that follow from that in terms of funding opportunities and proposals, and how you execute what your plan of study is and the courses that you take as a result of that. So figuring out that direction with the PI early is great. And I would also add, it hasn't been mentioned here, but I'm sure it'll be mentioned many times later, that the graduate student handbook continues to be I go back to it frequently to check on different requirements, to check on different milestones. And so we also have a great Canvas set up. So there's a lot of different resources that are available to help you be successful as you navigate your way to executing your research. Thank you.
Okay, great. Lots of good advice there. Kevin, is there other areas you'd like to add, being in the CISE department and your experiences as a PhD student at UF?
Yeah, certainly. First, just echoing what Channing and Bryce said about who your advisor is really shapes your experience. So I just want to emphasize that as well. Um, be intentional with who you choose as an advisor. It could either it makes or breaks your experience. And additionally, what Channing said is um, trying to decide on what research direction you want to go. Like like trying to decide on your research direction, I think is important as well. So I definitely agree with Channing on that. I'd say just the one thing that I wanted to add on as far as the advisor selection goes, try to get an idea of what expectations your advisor has of you, because there are some advisors that potentially don't really care for students to intern like their first year. They think maybe you need to stay and like start to build a solid foundation for your research, which is definitely a solid path. But then there are other advisors who probably promote you going to intern for the first year just to see what's going on in industry, or just to get an idea of what like industry research might look like. So I would just say my 10 cents or 2 cents is just get an understanding of what expectation your advisor has, and just try to learn like what their views are, as far make sure your views align as far as it goes with industry, or how it might go with research. That's all.
Okay, great. So you can see the common theme from all three of those talked about the faculty advisors. So if you're a PhD student, you will have a faculty advisor. The majority of the master students do not. And navigating that and selecting that individual, because that process is different in each of our departments as well. So make sure you talk with your graduate staff and they can help you navigating that. As far as the funding, the PhD students, sometimes that's separated at University of Florida. So sometimes there's an official PhD admission offer, and then a process to determine if there's a faculty match, and then a second separate official funding offer. So some of our departments do it that way, and some of our departments you get one offer letter and it's official PhD admission and funding. So I've noticed a good chunk of some of the questions in the chat has been about PhD funding, and a lot have gone for ISC in our Industrial and Systems Department. So I'll let Jordan tackle that and follow up on the information he wants to provide, and anything else for ISC you'd like to talk about right now.
Yeah, certainly. So yes, as you noted, there have been a number of questions in the chat concerning funding offers. And so just to kind of it's already kind of been mentioned at various different points by others today that our process, our offers of funding generally are prioritized towards our PhD students. Those decisions are made by individual faculty members for the most part. And so we are still receiving those decisions from faculty. And as we do receive them, we're getting those offers prepared and sent out to students. So if an offer is extended, you will receive that. And then once it appears that all of our offers have been extended, we will let everyone know that that is the case. In terms of master's students, the funding does more take the shape of different awards offered either by the college or we encourage students to pursue outside scholarships. We have some information on our website regarding those opportunities. And yeah, I think that pretty much covers I think the highlights.
Okay, great. Thank you, Jordan. So I'll call on Gabrielle next. So we've had this increasing trend in our chemical engineering department for 3 straight years of increasing numbers of PhD students. So if you'd like to talk about what it's like in the PhD there, or any topics that you've been getting a bunch of questions on for Chemi.
Yeah, so we definitely have seen an increase in our PhD admins that we've been having. I remember like a few years ago, we would really only have like 8 new PhD students, and now we're up to like 25 for our fall semester. So we've just had an increase in our faculty. We have quite a bit of new faculty members, and so they are looking for new PhD students to help build their lab as well. So that's kind of been like a big thing. And then we've also been securing a lot more funding to help with being able to fund a lot more of the new students. So that's been pretty helpful. Let's see. So, but yeah, so with our PhD program, we actually are having our new student orientation on, we have, ours goes over 2 days of it, and so ours is going to be Friday, August 15th, and then, oh no, sorry, it's going to be Monday and Tuesday is when we have ours, and we also hold this math boot camp, and so we have found that this is going to be the second year that we're doing it, and so with our math boot camp that we have, which we also invite our master students to do as well, it helps just bridge the gap between anybody who's lacking any math skills, and maybe because sorry, my baby's in the background. It helps because everybody comes from different parts of the world. They come from different schools, and so it helps just make sure that everybody's on the right track math wise, so they can be better ready for our courses that we offer. So that's something that we like doing as well. Let's see what else. Trying to think. I think we have already sent out, well, I guess everybody on this webinar has already been admitted. I'm trying to think. Sorry.
That's okay. That's good.
Sorry, I was trying to think for a second. I was like, I think we've already sent out all of our offers, but everybody on here has already been admitted, so never mind. That does not apply.
Okay.
But yeah, all of our
good.
students are guaranteed that the funding for their 5 years that they're here, along with that tuition waiver and medical insurance. And that has been and so usually that also like increases each year. So I know our stipend is 34,000 for our incoming students. And that has been pretty good, I believe, for the students to be able to live off of. I know quite a bit of students in our department that have like 1 bedrooms, and they live comfortably and are able to go and do all the things that they want to do and vacation and stuff like that as well.
Okay, great.
Sorry, that was like
Thank
a
you.
lot of extra information too.
No, it's good. It's all good stuff for everybody. Thank you very much. Okay, we're going to change topics now to some of the other stuff that takes place at UF. And the first one is we have a Career Connection Center. So I know how important it is for all of you, not just that you get a great experience at UF with your courses and your academics and the lab and your teachings, but when you finish your degree, what's going to happen? For jobs. How are we going to assist you in getting jobs and internships along the way? So we have an area dedicated to that. It's called the Career Connection Center. And let's see, let me have some of our students talk that have been involved with this or participated in some of their events. So Tomas, have you interfaced or worked with the Career Connection Center?
I've had one experience with the Career Connection Center before. It was so each semester UF has a career showcase. It's actually one of the biggest in this part of the country. And going into it, I was pretty nervous, and this was back in my undergrad when I hadn't had much job interview experience before, even though, well, the same resources are offered to grad students as well. So what I did was I scheduled a practice interview with the Career Connection Center, and they were super helpful in like telling me what I could expect, giving me some like I guess standard questions that I should be prepared for, giving me critiques on like the answers that I gave them during the interview. And overall, I felt a lot more confident going into the career showcase after having that experience with them.
Okay, good, great. Sai, have you worked with the Career Connection Center? And then I know also some of our own individual departments have events, and CISE has a big separate one as well.
Oh, I never been like worked with the career center, but I've been there like as a graduate student, searching for the companies, talking with the recruiters and stuff. So I've been there like 2 times for the last 2 years. No, had a connection with the recruiters, took their LinkedIn accounts, having a chat with them so that if there's any opportunity in the future, maybe we can reach out to them. So that's pretty helpful. And UF is organizing that once in every year. So it's pretty helpful in each semester. So I think it will be helpful for students if they want to contact to the recruiters in the future or in the present.
Yeah, so do know if you come to University of Florida that we have an office dedicated with many, many staff, and their only job is to work with the companies to assist all of our University of Florida students, bachelor's, master's, and PhD across all majors on campus with getting jobs and internships. And we have a couple of large scale events with hundreds and hundreds of companies here for a couple days. This happens in the fall and in the spring. And then we have individual companies that come every single week of the year, can meet more specifically with smaller groups or individuals. And then some of our departments as well, like CISE and SE for civil, coastal, environmental engineering, biomedical engineering, industrial and systems. Almost all our departments will have separate events for companies that are just looking for those majors. So we're going to help you a great deal with that. So let's talk a little bit more about housing now. So let's go to maybe some of the students that had to come here and search for housing. How about Barath? You haven't had a chance to talk yet. What was it like searching for housing and the costs here in Gainesville?
I stay off campus in the Stonebridge Apartments. It's one of the best affordable places near Gainesville. And the niche, which is now named as quarters, even that has good opportunities there. The thing with quarters is they lease as a bedroom, and the Stonebridge Apartments lease as a flat. So it's your headache to bring all the people into your flat. And there are pretty much on-campus housings too, but most of the on-campus housings go for the graduate and their families, and there's like a huge wait list for them to acquire them. So better recommend for graduate students to be off campus. There are really good options, and mainly for the Indian students, most of us live in Stone Ridge, Quarters, Greenwich Apartments, Aspen Ridge, Centric, and these are pretty much decent places, affordable and really near to most of the things. And it's just like 10 minutes to 20 minutes drive from these places to campus. And we also have a free bus facility. And if it's late night, we also have SNAP transportation services from university, funded by university, almost near to off-campus places so that you can walk from there safely back to your home. That's all.
And what is the cost when you say it's affordable? What are the costs?
So most of the storage apartment flats, depending on how you share with the friends or how you stay, it's gonna vary from $400 to $1,500 for the whole month, including all the utilities and your expenses. If you're staying in like a 4-bed, 4-bath, and you're sharing your flat with someone else, then you might end up spending like $270 to $300 on your flat, and then utilities, expenses, everything comes in $200. So mostly it's like $500 to $1,500 on how you like to spend.
Okay, good. And Maria, what's your experience been with searching for housing and costs and stuff in Gainesville? Is Maria still with us? Okay. Okay, how about a different student, maybe Bryce, what's it been like for you searching for housing and costs?
I'm happy to jump in, Michael, because
Oh,
I
yeah.
see I lived at Stone Ridge Apartments, which
Okay.
was fantastic because one thing that I didn't know about Gainesville that I've repeated before is that the bus system is free for students. So there's a bus that shows up right outside the apartment building that takes me right to the REITs Union. So I didn't have to have any transportation concerns for a long time because that was so convenient. The graduate student housing options, they typically have a really long, so Corey, Diamond, and Tanglewood have a really long wait list. I think it's 2 years right now. And so some of these other options are wonderful and they're just around. So I know a lot of people that live southwest, northwest to campus, and they all have, there's different ways to get there, but I really take advantage of the bus systems and the housing is usually good and uh, sound, I would say. It's you don't move into a hovel or anything like that.
Okay, good. Yeah, so University of Florida, we have a lot of on-campus housing, but the majority of that goes to the undergraduates. They all kind of live on campus to start for their first couple years. And we have some graduate housing, but what's taking place at University of Florida is kind of this 10 to 15 year to upgrade and remodel and restore or just completely rebuild some of the really old on-campus housing units. And some of those were the graduate housing. So some of those have been demolished or are in the process of being demolished until they build new ones. So this is going to take a couple years. So there isn't a lot of graduate student housing on campus. And the few that are remaining tend to be prioritized for families, and they do get long wait lists. So most of our graduate students do live off campus, but there's lots of housing in this town for students because this is a college town. So that's the focus. So you will find something there. So let's talk about some of the things that you like to do for fun. So when we're not talking about classes or research, what do you like to do for fun in Gainesville? So Kevin, I seen you were trying to get on there for a second. What do you like to do in this town, on campus or in town?
Oh man, yeah, Gainesville's pretty. There's a lot of cool, fun things to do. I like sports, so I try to attend most of the sporting events. Um, that's always fun. There's a lot of really cool barcades in the downtown area and a little bit on the outskirts of downtown. Um, I'd say there's a lot of really cool. There's just like endless amounts of clubs as well and like communities, so you could find something for almost anything you're into, even if it's like I don't know, Legends of Zelda on Game Boy Color Club. It's like you'll definitely find people that want to do that stuff. So I'd say like yeah, I've never yeah, and there's a big push for outdoors. Outdoors. If you run or you ride skateboard, we have trails that go for miles, and you don't have to worry about like getting struck by a vehicle or like dodging. It's like yeah, we have trails for any type of outdoor stuff you want to do. So yeah, that's just a list of some of the things that I found to do for fun.
Okay, great. Let's hear from some more students out here. Are you still online? What do you like to do when you're not in class?
So usually I prefer going to the Southwest Recreation Center for the badminton and any like the volleyball. And there are also other events that many uh, student organizations like the IGSA and ISA conduct for the events like Diwali, Holi events. So recently also the ISA conducted the Holi event. So many, and we prefer going to there are many places near to us like the Jacksonville, Tampa, and Orlando. It's around 1 hour, 2 hour drive from the Gainesville.
Okay, thank you. And you mentioned IGSA, and Bharath is one of the officers in IGSA. So I asked him to present a little bit because we have a lot of India students online today.
Yeah, so one of the best happening place in Gainesville, I would say, is University of Florida because it's, as Mike mentioned, it's a university town. So most of the people are around the campus all the time, and Indian Graduate Student Association (IGSA) referred to. We are a non-profitable organization on campus, helping all the Indian graduate students coming from India, and IGSA, I would say it is not mainly about the events that we do, but it is the help we give for the students from initially their admit till they reach Gainesville to make sure you feel Gainesville as your second home. We sometimes arrange the temporary accommodations if you are still on the wait list of some of the apartments. We do arrange pickup some of the times, and we do the events to always proceed, spread out the culture towards all the Indian graduate students here.
So yes, so if you're from India, you will have a large community to help you to get here and to acclimate you once you are here, and then provide a community the entire time until you graduate. So we've got other things going on around Gainesville and within a short drive. Tomas, have you done some stuff beyond Gainesville that's fun in Florida that you like?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm actually from Miami, so I know a good
There you go.
deal about Florida. But in my time in Gainesville, I've definitely done quite a few trips to Orlando, whether it's to visit the theme parks or just walk around downtown Disney or just the different things that they have going on in Orlando. Gainesville, as you've probably heard, is a smaller town and it has its own really fun things to do. But to supplement what you might not get out of a smaller college town, we have a lot of cities that are within easy access. So Orlando, Jacksonville, Tampa are all within an hour or two drive, as was mentioned, and a lot of concerts can go on there from like bigger artists that you would probably know. In the spring, sorry, not in the spring, in the winter, going to St. Augustine is like about an hour and a half trip to the East Coast, and they deck out the entire downtown area with really pretty Christmas lights. And it's always a great time to go out there with some friends and just spend the night walking around and getting that old town kind of charm from St. Augustine.
Great. I love St. Augustine too. I head there
Mhm.
many a times a year. Allison, I don't think we we had a chance to hear from you. Is there something you'd like to talk about for this area or the material science department that would be beneficial for the admitted students online today?
Yes, I would like to comment too. We have a big thing that's coming up this weekend, dance marathon that's on campus where we raise lots of money to help all different kinds of charitable organizations that are available here. We also have a Friends of the Library book sale that's coming up that's super popular. So yes, there's lots of different activities. Another thing I want to say real quickly is that please reach out to your individual department. I know it was mentioned earlier that some faculty don't want emails from students, where MSc does and nuclear does. So please make sure you reach out to the individual department just to find out. Check the advising links here through here. We can also help you as well. Every individual engineering department is different, so it's really important to reach out and know what the procedures are to follow.
Yeah, that's a good point. We're a very large place when we talk about over 60,000, but we can break that down to something so much more unique and smaller and give you lots of individualized attention when you talk about one department with a couple hundred. But we do things differently, and so yes, you want to reach out to everybody. So we're approaching the point where we'll wrap up here shortly. It'll be nearly 90 minutes, an hour and a half. We've had a great productive time today, I feel. The slides and recordings are posted here for the last one and for this one, and that's the same place where you registered online for this webinar. Several departments talked about orientations and welcomes for the fall. So this shows some of the things. There's multiple areas between department welcomes and orientations, between college, between the graduate school, between the International Center and graduate student organizations. And most of these start in August, but not all of them. Some are becoming earlier and earlier, as you heard on beginning July 1 is our mechanical and aerospace engineering department. So you'll get more information on this. Some of this you've received already, but we'll try to keep you up to speed on this over the summer months. You've received everybody's contact information throughout. Here's a summation again of the key individual or individuals in each department, which tends to be the graduate staff. They're the ones that you've been interfacing with. There's the ones when you applied that they're the ones receive your application, get it processed with the faculty, and get those important admission decisions out to you, and so much more information. So we'd love to continue to hear from you all the way through your final decision. And of course, if you picked University of Florida, all the way through the fall term and beyond until your graduation. So what we'll do at this point, we just have about 5 minutes left if there was any pressing questions. So I will leave this with our graduate staff. If you feel like there's a question or two that have been repeated a lot, or you feel like we need another comment to bring to an end, does anybody have any final comments or questions we feel like we should touch on? We just have about 5 minutes.
The only quick thing I would say is that the official UF off-campus website is pretty useful. I see people asking some questions. There's people that have asked some questions about housing quite a lot, and I didn't see that mentioned. So offcampus.ufl.edu can be really helpful. And I do recommend using that. You can find I believe you can even find like roommates and recommendations and things like that through their site. But your mileage may vary.
That's great. We'll have to add that to the slide. There's so many new sites all the time. We'll make sure we put that one on. Thank you, Jeremy. Other grad staff that want to touch on anything as we're summing up here?
If I can add anything from the I-20 point
Yes,
of view, a common question I see is my I-20 instruction says I need to show this amount, but how come? Just know that yes, the full amount is $57,555 for the 2025 year. If you were awarded Achievement Award, and if your department told us, they will tell us, and therefore the amount you have to show is $53,055 USD. That is calculated based on one full academic year, one full calendar year, so including summer. If you happen not to register in summer 2026, then you'll have those funds towards fall 2026 if you haven't graduated yet. So although you may or may not register in summer 26, you are still required to show that full first 12 months for the I-20 application. Keep in mind, we are only asking for the full first 12 months as opposed to asking for the full 1.5 or 2 years that your program could be, or otherwise 4 years as PhD. So this is based on 1 year. Any funds that aren't needed for the first year, you use towards the next, okay? And then another question was about EDGE. If you will come as an F1 student, you cannot be in an EDGE program. Okay.
Okay, great. I'm going to let two students, if they have some closing comments, if they wanted to give maybe one piece of advice or hit one final area for students who are still deciding. How about, let's see, is Channing, are you still online? Is there one final comment you'd like to make for these admitted students?
I think everybody loves getting asked questions. So if you just have questions, I love the supporting staff here. They make life easy for me. I'm constantly in a cloud of unknowns. And so when I get to go have those interactions and they help me out, it's really great. So I just never hesitate reaching out to talk to people about what my quandaries are. So I just encourage that.
Okay, good. And how about Kevin? Do you have one final piece of advice or comment for these students before they're all deciding here within 2 weeks on where to go to grad school?
Yeah, definitely. I'd say, firstly, congrats on the acceptance. UF is a great school. There's a ton of opportunity. It's one of those type of places where you get what you put in. Like there's a direct correlation. So if you put in hard work, you're gonna get that outcome here. There's a bunch of leadership opportunities, job opportunities. Like it's overall it's a really cool place, and it's a welcoming city. It's my first time in Florida, so I have no complaints. So yeah, I'd say yeah, UF is a great place. Yeah, that's all.
Okay, great. So a special thanks to all of our panelists today. Some had to head out a little early, but we really had a lot of experts here. that tell you straight up what they feel it's like here, and I wanted you to get all their perspectives. No preset questions. Everybody who's telling you straight from the heart what they feel it's like to be at University of Florida. So for those of you that have already decided, we're really looking forward to seeing you in the fall term and communicating throughout the summer. And for those of you that are still deciding, we hope that we've made the case that University of Florida would be a great place for you and that you select us for fall for your master's or PhD program. So thank you for your time today. I know that you have a lot of options and most of you are admitted to multiple institutions, and we think Florida would be a great choice, both with the product that we offer and the economical price, and that every time we have students on, the one thing I hear over and over again, common thing from everybody, is they all love this place. They love University of Florida, as well as our staff and faculty as well. So thanks again for joining us today, and please stay in touch with us in the coming months as you're making your decisions and over the summer.